A Ghost Story is probably the most beautiful and devastating film this year. This film flew largely under the radar. It opened in 329 theatres and gained $1.8 million from a $100,000 budget, but I haven't heard it talked about much anywhere, except for places I looked specifically for it. Today I wanted to review the film in a different way to my usual reviews. So let's take a deeper look into A Ghost Story. The film is unconventional to say the least. Multiple times the camera lingers on one person or object for minutes. For the scene on screen right now is to convey how food can make someone feel better in a bad time. This shot goes for around 5 minutes and it's quite incredible. I sat mesmerised the entire time because of how raw and emotional it felt. The movie begins with Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara's characters talking. They've reached the point in their lives where they're ready to move from their current house. Later throughout the film we find out Casey Affleck's character was much less excited about leaving than Rooney Mara's character was. Mara's character M talks about how she used to leave little notes inside the walls of the houses she used to live in, so if she ever wanted to go back there would be something of hers there. 10 minutes into the film is when Casey Affleck's character dies in a car crash, and that's when he becomes a ghost. He witnesses many different events, and in the film he says he wanted to stay in their current house because of the history, and near the end of the film we see the people who were going to build on that land that lost their lives. Partially the film revolves around Casey Affleck's character C reading the note or poem M put in the wall, and when he finally looks at it he disappears. The story of this film will definitely turn some people off, because it's not the easiest to follow at all times, but to me I think it is quite incredible. Casey Affleck is hot off his Academy Award for Manchester by the Sea, and I think once again he's truly Oscar worthy in this. Although the chance is incredibly slim because of the time the film was released and how big it actually was, Rooney Mara will hopefully get a nomination because she was also incredible. I haven't seen her in many other films, but she's always one of the best things about them. With the performance there isn't much in terms of dialogue, and this film is very sparse on words, and to me that's not a problem. The ghost walking around was very powerful, and I hope other films could learn to use more subtle acting like this did. The film is shot in an aspect ratio much different than what most are accustomed to. It's 4:3 with rounded edges. There's also a noticeable amount of grain, which gave me a warm sensation and feeling. This limits the shots, and many are somewhat symmetrical, much like the work of Wes Anderson. Every shot feels incredibly soft, and I think it definitely adds to the emotion. The soundtrack in this film is unlike any other. In many other films, the music can either stick out or it can blend in so much you don't even realise that it's there. In A Ghost Story, it sticks out so much, which is incredibly helpful for the type of film it is. There are many long shots in this film, and without a background sound it would have felt somewhat uncomfortable. I loved A Ghost Story. It was a truly beautiful film and I can't wait to rewatch it. Something I thought before I went in and saw it was that I wouldn't have an overwhelming sense to rewatch it, but I wanted to right after I finished it. David Lowery has crafted one of the best films of recent history and certainly one of the most original and underappreciated films of 2017.